In this video, we're going to talk about the changes to admin to allow it to be stretchable. To get started with this, we need to modify the Splash program so that the clicking of the admin program will bring up the stretch version rather than the original version, which still exists. To do that, we double-click the title bar, we go to the admin icon, and you click the stretch checkbox. If that checkbox is unclicked, then you'll get the original program. So now when we launch the admin program, we'll get the new version. At first glance, this new version looks kind of like the old version, except for two things. One is there's no tabs anymore, and the second is there's now this little area called navigation buttons. These take the place of the tabs, but all the other stuff on the screen is essentially what was on the original version. The other issue, of course, is that things can be stretched. This screen can be stretched here, but we don't really need to, unless you want to make the numbers bigger. The big difference between the inventory program and this program in stretching is that the inventory program, you had to stretch the root form and everything else would fall into place. In this case, all these individual functions are individually stretchable all by themselves and individually movable. I'm going to quickly go through three of these, the utilities, defaults, and tables, because they really didn't change at all from the original program. The reports function, however, does have some significant changes to it. So let's start off with the utilities. The utilities function looks essentially like the original utilities function. Again, there's no tabs, but there are these buttons, including a go back to main, which was the original screen. To stretch things, you just grab a corner and you can make them bigger, and everything else gets bigger. Most of you would do this if you can't see the numbers very easily. The defaults tab looks again almost identical to the original defaults tab, but again it can be stretched so that when you stretch them, the numbers will get bigger. For people like me with my poor eyeballs, that's a real great idea. The tables screen also can be stretched, and certain other functions in there can. Salesman, warranty, gap, car options, admin reports cannot, because those were all written with a Microsoft tool that I didn't have any way to modify. But the car forms stretches. The finance company stretches. And the dealer stretches. And the sales tax stretches. There's one other change I made, and that is if you check these boxes and get the spreadsheet form of those tables, they stretch to the width of the screen. So if I bring up the finance company box, you'll see that it stretches automatically all the way to where there's all the data. So you don't have to do that yourself as you did in the past. Same thing with the car forms data. It stretches as far as your screen will allow. The reports function has had a lot of changes made to it. Like the other reports, it can stretch. But you'll notice down here there's a bunch of new functions. These are actually similar to functions that were in the root of the old program, but I've changed them around. This one here allows you to change the width of the form. This is useful for reports that are wide. So if I take a look at the 600 report, which is the management inventory report, it used to be that it got cut off right about this point. Now you can see all the rest of it. We can also make the report higher. Click this button and then run the report. You'll see that you can see further down. And if you don't like the font size there, we can make the fonts bigger. So let's change the font size to 12. Run the report again. Display the report. So now the fonts are bigger. Note that that only applies to the display. Printed report will still be the original font that was defined for that report. When you print something, I now give you the option of a double space. Click this box, run the 600 report again, display it. But when you print it, you can see that it now prints out as double spaced. At the moment, I don't have an easy way to change the font size of the printed report, but that's something I may do in the future. One other thing that I've done that you can't see very easily is that it was hard for some technical reasons to know when the print got to the end of a page when you printed the page. I've now figured out how to do that, so all of the pages should properly do a page eject if you have a report that's going to go that more than one page long. This video is only talking about the stretch changes that have occurred. I still need to do videos on the individual parts of the admin program. I'll be starting on that next. It's going to take a while because there's probably going to be about 6 or 8 such videos because the admin has a lot of stuff in it.